My lords, I thank all the noble lords who've contributed to this debate, particularly those who have supported Amendment 55. And I'd particularly like to thank the Right Reverend Prelate, the Bishop of St Albans, who painted a powerful picture of the impact of what we now know was the early stages of the pandemic, as set out in the Church's Reset the Debt report. The Right Reverend Prelate spoke movingly about the increase in demand on food banks and church food pantries, which have been so essential in helping so many households through. But of course, the food bank doesn't pay the gas bill or the council tax demand. The Right Reverend Prelate stressed, as we'd expect, the strong moral case for this fair debt write-off, and who better to do so. Now, the noble lady Baroness Mackintosh Pickering highlighted the pressure of council tax being felt by so many households. That, of course, is council tax that's funding essential services as budgets have been squeezed by slashed funding from Westminster. I should perhaps declare at this point that I'm a Vice President of the Local Government Association. I would also thank the noble Baroness for stressing the issue of 0 hours contracts that have trapped so many households. And I would strongly thank the noble Lord Davies of Brixton, for raising the powerful arguments for something much larger than this, as I said at the start, modest proposal, and making the parallel with the bank write-offs of 2007-8, and his call for consideration of more wide-ranging debt jubilee. That's actually what I went to a number of NGOs and campaign groups with a proposal for, and they came back to me with this, saying this was something that could and should be practically delivered right now. I think the noble Lord Davies also made a useful point about the macroeconomic impacts, the sheer drag of debt. As for Baroness Noakes's contribution, well, I'm sure we'll find something to agree with on one day, but I do thank her for her thoughtful exploration and exposition of the detail. I'm not sure, looking at the clock on my computer, that this is the ideal time of the evening to go through in detail through her worked example. But I would point out that what's proposed here is not retrospective. In fact, I don't think we'd have the power to do such a thing. So the price of the debt purchased in future would reflect the legal change, and would still allow profit to be made. I also think that her example, given the secondary debt market is currently paying less than 10p in the pound, reflects little understanding of the practical reality of the lives of many in society and in many communities. Perhaps she's thinking more in the range of the market of Greensill Bank that we've seen collapse today. Now, I would very much agree with what the noble Lord Stevenson of Balmacara said on the need for a broader debate of debt, reflecting also what the noble Lord Davies said. I don't agree that we shouldn't act now. We're in an emergency situation, and as the discussion in the previous group highlighted, we need to give some sort of certainty and hope. I would note that given the noble Lord's expressions of reflecting how people are appalled and horrified to find themselves in this situation, I'd thank him for sharing those experiences. Now, the noble lady Baroness Kramer, I'll take a look at her remarks in Hansard to make sure I understood them clearly, but I think there may be some misunderstandings at their heart. The debt in the secondary market, this is not about creating a situation where extra charges can be laid. And we're not talking about people going out to borrow money. What we're talking about council tax bills, gas and electricity charges. And the noble Lord Tunnicliffe said we really needed to have broader debates on these issues. And indeed, I said in my introduction that we expect to be coming back to this issue many times in the coming years. For the moment, I think we've had a useful debate, and I take on board the noble Lord's suggestion of a general debate. And perhaps the frontbenchers who have much more access to such occasions would consider originating such a debate. My action at the moment is obvious. Again, a thank you to everyone who's contributed, and to everyone who's contributed to this discussion outside of this committee. For the moment, I beg leave to withdraw the amendment, but I reserve the right to consider bringing it back, and I invite any noble lords who are interested in working with me on this to approach me on that matter.